Sheep farmers are hitting back at vegans for Veganuary, the campaign to get people to go vegan for 1 month. Reckon that by the end of this month, 500,000 people around the world will have tried moving to a plant-based diet. Sheep farmers say the Veganuary campaign is misleading and misguided. So let's bring together a vegan and a sheep farmer. Phil Stocker is a sheep farmer and chief executive of the National Sheep Association, which represents the industry. And Ed Winters is an animal rights activist, also known as Earthling Ed, who wants to see a vegan world. Don't you? Yes. Okay. Good morning, both of you. Thank you for talking to each other. Phil, tell Ed what you say is misleading about Veganuary.
Okay, so I think it is within everyone's right to choose the sort of diet that they should eat. I just think that a lot of the facts and the statistics that have been spread around are misleading and don't take into account the fact that our sheep are being produced in a very natural way. They're producing a very nutritious product. And I would argue that they're actually contributing to a positive environment rather than damaging the planet. So a lot of the stats and the messages that are going out are simply misleading and don't reflect the way the sheep farming is taking place here in the UK.
Before you respond, what's the thing that's the most misleading in your view? Be specific if you would.
I think it's that eating meat is damaging to people's health, and yet we know that as part of a balanced diet, it's a very healthy way to keep yourself in good order.
I think there's two things to consider. There's the environmental point that you kind of first put forward. There were 2 studies released last year. The first was the most comprehensive study that ever looked at the relationship between farming and the environment. It looked at 119 countries and 40,000 farms, and it revealed that the vegan diet or vegan lifestyle is the single biggest way that we can live that reduces our impact. The second study was the most comprehensive study ever conducted between food and the environment. And it said that in this country, in the UK, not America, but in the UK, we have to reduce our pork, our beef, and our lamb consumption by 90% to avoid meeting that 2 degrees Celsius threshold rise that would be catastrophic. So actually, when we look at the science that's behind these issues that we're talking about, it's very much stacked in favour of vegan lifestyle.
Okay, pause.
Come back on the environmental damage and the methane side. And for a long time, ruminants, cattle and sheep have been criticised for putting methane out, which is a greenhouse gas. Recently, there's been some studies that have been done that shows that methane reacts in a very, very different way to carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide that comes from fossil fuels. And if you think of methane coming from ruminants, from animals, it's just part of a natural gaseous cycle that this planet has learned to adapt with, has adapted to cope with over thousands and thousands of years. And
are we coping with it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if you look what the United Nations is telling us, we look at what some of the most prestigious and respected bodies are telling us, the Lancet. We're looking at the University of Oxford, looking at Harvard, looking at the Nature Journal, Science Journal. All of these studies and all these institutions are saying very clearly that actually animal agriculture is the leading driver of so many environmental problems that we're facing. And it's bigger than just methane emissions. We're looking at habitat destruction, species extinction, water pollution. So it's bigger than just that contained aspect we're talking about.
A lot of that science is flawed and it's fairly new. We're dealing with a subject that isn't necessarily that well understood.
But based on what? What scientific bodies are you referencing to make that claim?
There's some information that is coming out of Oxford University at the moment. It's going to go into the IPCC report that actually makes the case that methane has got a short-term life cycle of around between 4 and 10 years, whereas greenhouse gases from carbon dioxide are much, much longer than that. So methane has got this cycling thing where the gases are released, the planet adapts to cope with them, and then they disperse, they dissolve, and obviously more methane is being produced. So we would argue that the numbers of sheep kept in the UK over the last 40 or 50 years have not contributed at all to greenhouse gas, but to global warming. They're at an equilibrium.
I'll read a couple of emails. Deborah says sheep farmers have a vested interest in flogging the nation decaying flesh of a species of God. It's a scientific fact that a well-balanced vegan diet will lengthen your life expectancy. We're no longer in the Stone Age. Mark says the health benefits or disadvantages are of no interest to me whatsoever, actually. I do not want to be part, though, of the cruel and violent animal exploitation industries. Considering the impact on ourselves in order to make the decision is symptomatic of the real issue, which is speciesism. And Johnny says, before we even see your item, if the farmer says he loves his sheep, I'll grow. Do you?
I absolutely do love my sheep.
He goes on, you can't deliberately breed baby animals specifically to die in a state of terror and say you love them. Hang on, let me finish. People naturally eat meat, but just be honest about where it comes from, pain and terror. How do you respond?
Absolutely not. I would argue that sheep are almost in this world when we're trying to find sustainability. Sheep are almost the ultimate in renewable technology. Most of our grass is grown with no more than sunlight and rain and soil. Most of our grass is not treated with any agrochemicals or fertilizers. It produces grass that ruminant sheep come along and eat, and they convert that into high quality protein, vitamins, minerals.
Cholesterol, saturated fat, trans fat.
But eaten as part of a healthy diet along with vegetables. There was a health practitioners conference in Cardiff back in the new year, and 96% of those health professionals agreed that red meat as part of a diet was a healthy way to sustain ourselves.
And yet studies coming out from Harvard and Cornell and other very prestigious institutions have very clearly shown there's a direct correlation between consuming these products and our leading diseases and illness. And I really want to get back to that point about looking after animals. In the lamb industry, up to 6 million baby lambs die within the first 3 days of being born in this country because farmers breed them to give birth in winter so they can capitalise on the spring lamb tradition.
That's absolutely not correct.
Let him respond. He is a sheep farmer.
That is absolutely not correct. I mean, by far the majority of our sheep lambing in late February, March and into April. If anything, over this last 5 years, lambing has shifted later into the season so that sheep farms can become less reliant on inputs and feed and just work alongside a natural growth pattern of the grass in the seasons. So it's absolutely not right that they're pushed to lamb early for the spring trade.
That statistic comes from the National Disease for Animal Inspection Service, so it's not a biased thing. This is a organisation that works within the industry, and they say anywhere between 10 and 25% of newborn baby lambs die within the first 3 days of birth. And that's because you're capitalising on a vested interest to make money from a very profitable time of year.
It's a different issue, actually. I mean, we do have losses. Again, a semi-natural farming system where lots of our sheep are out in almost semi-wild conditions out in the hills. You're bound to get losses, and we do get losses with lambs, but that's in a way a trade-off of them living in a very natural situation. You can reduce those losses by bringing them indoors and housing them and going into a more intensive direction, but we wouldn't want to do that.
I'm going to pause now just because we're coming to the end of the programme. But thank you very much, both of you. Ed and Phil, thank you for talking to each other. Paul says meat is a need for humans, as is veg and natural protein. More damage in farming is the chemicals they put on the land, though. Thank you for all your comments today. Lots of you have been in touch about online abuse and suicide prevention.